Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue with the next part of the chapter, Outcomes of Democracy. Till now, we have done about the economic, how democracy is better than other forms of government. We have also done that economic development is much more in the dictator countries than the democracies. But by this, can we conclude that democracy is not a better form of government? Definitely no, children. Still, even though in democracy there are few flawless points, there are few negative points in democracy, still we consider democracy to be a better form of government than the other forms of government. So let us continue with this topic, accommodation of social diversity. This is one of the positive fact of the democracies. Democracies lead to peaceful and harmonious life among citizens. Do you really think so? It will be a fair expectation that democracy should produce a harmonious social life. We expect that if it is a democratic country, there will be all people will be living together without any conflicts. Now, what is the meaning of accommodation of social diversity? Different people, different languages, different religions, different regions, different cultures, all the people are able to live together in a country where there is democracy. For example, we have seen in the first chapter, Belgium, example of Belgium. When they adopted democracy, there were various ethnic groups and they were able to accommodate all these various ethnic groups when they framed their constitution in a democratic country. In same way, in India also, we have so many social diversities and we are able to accommodate all of them. That means all of them are able to live peacefully in a country. Yes, there may be a few conflicts. We see in our country there are few conflicts between Hindus and Muslims very often. But these conflicts are there, children, in every country. It's not necessary that only in India where there are different religions we have these conflicts. Even in a country where there is single religion, also there are conflicts. If you go to Pakistan, where all people are Islam people, there also you will see conflicts. So conflicts are there in every country. But in a democratic country like India or Belgium, all the people of different religions, different languages are able to live peacefully. Maybe few exceptions where there may be few conflicts, otherwise all are able to live peacefully. You might have seen in your classroom, maybe at your home, near your houses, there are so many different people and all are living peacefully. So that is what the democracy gives us. It accommodates all the types of social diversities. So let's read about this furthermore, which I have told you. All the points are here, children, which I have already quoted to you. Belgium successfully negotiated differences among the ethnic populations. We have seen in Belgium, when they adopted democracy, they were able to live peacefully. So, democracies usually develop a procedure to conduct their competition. This reduces the possibility of these tensions becoming explosive or violent. No society can fully and permanently resolve conflicts. That is what I told you. There is no country in the world which will resolve the conflicts. Where there are no conflicts, maybe if you go to countries like US, Britain, France, where there is only one kind of a religion, there also you will see that the conflicts are existing. But we can certainly learn to respect these differences, and we can also evolve mechanism to negotiate the differences. But definitely in a democratic country, these differences are adjusted with one another. Democracy is best suited to produce this outcome. That is what I said. One of the best outcome of democracy is democratic countries accommodate social diversity. That means different people of different backgrounds, different religions, different languages, all are able to live peacefully in a democratic country. But on the other hand, the non-democratic regimes like dictatorship countries or monarch countries, they turn a blind eye. That means they are not bothered at all about these conflicts. They suppress the internal social differences. Like in Sri Lanka, if you remember, children, in Sri Lanka, they call themselves as democracy, but they have not given any rights to Tamils, and any conflict between the Tamils and the Sinhalese, the majority Sinhalese will suppress the Tamils. So, in many countries, this happens. So, ability to handle social differences and divisions and conflicts is thus a definitely plus point of democratic regimes. So in a democratic regimes or in a democratic country, we are able to adjust these differences. Even if there is a conflict, the government listens to both the parties and then give its verdict. It's not that one group of people are suppressed at all. Now let's go to the next point. It is necessary to understand that democracy is not simply ruled by majority opinion. Again, when we talk about a democratic country, in any country you go, there will be one or two groups who are in majority and the other groups are in minority. But democracy definitely doesn't mean the majority have to suppress the minority like in Sri Lanka. It is like in India. We can see even if the Hindus are in majority, they are, and the other religions are in minority, but all people are able to live peacefully because all have been given equal rights. Rather, some minorities have been given even special provisions to secure them, to give them security in our country so that the majority do not suppress the minority. So then only a democratic government can function properly, because majority and minority opinions are not permanent. For example, when we talk about Congress, for several years it was in majority. But what happened? Suddenly there was a change and now the BJP is in majority. Tomorrow maybe somebody may suppress the BJP and some other government comes which is in majority. So whosoever comes in majority and rules over our government doesn't mean that they have to suppress the minority groups. Here minority groups, I'm not talking about only in the context of the religion. I'm talking about even in the context of the political parties, minority political parties. So majority, if it is winning elections and ruling the and becoming the ruling government, they have to work in coordination with the minorities also, minority parties and even the minorities also. So it is also necessary that rule by majority does not become rule by majority community in terms of religion, race or linguistic group, etc. Like in Sri Lanka, majoritarianism concept is wrong. That is why they faced so many civil wars. But in India, it is not so. There are, I can give you so many examples. Even if it is a Hindu majority country, you would have seen so many presidents who were not Hindu. so many prime ministers who were not Hindu. In the same manner, rule by majority it should not become rule by majority of one religion or one language or one linguistic group. So rule by majority means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and groups may. And so when we talk about majority, so whosoever wins the elections or whosoever rules the government, they have to work in accordance with the others. So anytime any party can become the majority party. Democracy remains democracy as long as every citizen has a chance of being a majority at some point of time. If Congress was in majority rule for so many years, do you think that there was democracy during the Congress rule? I don't support any party, but I'm asking in the same way right now. A single leader is taking all the decisions. It cannot be a democratic rule. So democracy remains democracy. The meaning of democracy remains democracy only when every citizen has a chance of being in majority at one or the other part of the time. If today BJP loses its seat and Aam Aadmi Party gets, then we say yes, democracy, there is a meaning. And maybe after few years somebody may else come and become ruling party, and at that time even Aam Aadmi Party is not a ruling party, then we say yes, democracy has a meaning, because every time different political parties are getting a chance. But think for a while, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, same single party is ruling the government. How can it be a democracy? It cannot be. If somebody is bad from being in majority on the basis of birth, if somebody is not allowed to become a majority, to become a part of the majority group on the basis of their birth, maybe their caste or religion, it is then the democracy doesn't have any meaning. So we say it is one of the positive point that in a democratic country, it accommodates different people. They may be different in religion, they may be different in language, they may be different in other means. Now let us see here the cartoons. There are two images depicting two different kinds of effects democratic politics can have on social divisions. Take one example for each image. Let's do what does this shows. Children, you can see this first cartoon. What does this first cartoon show? Imagine this first cartoon is showing the two ethnic groups, like in Sri Lanka. Country is same, but two ethnic groups fighting against each other. What will happen? The country will get divided. It's just like a one body, single country, single body. And your two hands are fighting with each other. One is ready to kill the other hand. Same way, a country where there are two ethnic groups like Sri Lanka fighting with each other, which will divide the country. The next one, we have the cartoon which shows where the different people are able to live together. They are able to adjust together. You can see here a black and a white person. They are different in their color. So these people are able to live together. So that means they are in a true democratic country. So that's the meaning. Let's go on to the next topic, children, which is dignity and freedom of the citizens. Now, dignity means, children, respect. Again, this is a plus point for the democratic country. In a democratic country like India, different people have the respect for each other, and people have right to live freely. Like in India, when we talk about We are so different people again. We have different religions, languages, etc., etc. But all have respect in the society. For a very long time, women did not have respect, not only in India, even in the world. If you go to European countries, even if you see in US, there was never a women president. This is the first time I think the one of the women vice president has become this time. Otherwise, there was no women president over there at all ever. So there was no respect for the women. But if you see the democratic countries like India, even now there is so much of respect for women that we can see that women are now able to participate in the politics. There are so many seats reserved for the women, especially in, for example, in the local bodies, in the local government, that is in the municipality, panchayat and municipal corporation, one third of the seats are reserved for the women. So that's how today women are equally respectable. In the same manner, the lower caste people in our country who were once upon called as Shudras and were not allowed and were not given any rights, today they are also getting so many rights. They are being given so many reservations so that they can come at par with the upper caste people and the other people. So they are also today equally respected in the society. So definitely this is a plus point for the democracy. So I'm just reading out what I have explained, children. Democracy stands much superior to any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of individual, which I told you, yes, democracy promotes the dignity and freedom of the individual person. Every individual wants to receive respect. All of us want to receive the respect, but when will you receive? When we give respect to other fellow beings. Often conflicts arise among individuals because some feel that they are not treated with due respect. When you are not getting respect, definitely you will fight. So the passion for respect and freedom are basis of democracy. Democracies throughout the world have recognized this, at least in the principle. In the constitutions, principle means theoretically, at least in the constitutions, equal respect is written in the constitution. Whether they are equally getting or not, that's a different case. If you go to US, constitution says equally all people are respectable, but there are many blacks who don't get this respect, equal respect. Other races people don't get equal respect in many other countries. So that is why principle means it is written in the constitution. Theoretically, it says yes, equal respect. But sometimes in practical, many countries are not able to follow this because it depends upon country to country. For societies which have been built for long and basis of subordination and domination, it is not a simple matter to recognize that all individuals are equal. A country like India, which was ruled by Britishers for several years, where Indians were not at all respected, giving equal respect just immediately after the independence, it's a great achievement. Take the case of the dignity of women. This is what you have to give answer. This is the example. When the question comes that how democracies promote dignity and freedom of the individual. I'm repeating question. How democracy promotes dignity and freedom of the individual. Then you have to give every individual wants to receive respect from fellow beings, and then you will give the examples. Dignity of women, which I am going to do now. Most societies across the world were historically male dominated societies. That is what I said. It's not only in India. Every part of the world you go, any part of the world you go, you will see that it is male dominated societies, mainly once upon a time. And women had struggled a lot to create some sensitivity today, and to get the respect and equal treatment of women are necessary ingredients of democratic society. So when we talk about equal respect, the first thing comes is that the equal respect should be there for the women in the society who were not given any rights. at all once upon a time. So that does not mean that women are actually always treated with respect. Once the principle, it is written in the constitutions that women should be equally respected, but many times you see that they are not respected equally. Even there are so many domestic violence. We always talk about so much of domestic violence in our country also. So in but when it is written in the constitution, if anybody is not respecting a woman can move to the court. At least this recognition is being given to women. So it becomes easier for a woman to wage a struggle. If it is written in the constitution that women should get equal respect, women should get equal wages, then and if she is not getting, she can move to the court. But think, if it is not written in the constitution, then the women cannot do anything. In a non-democratic setup, this unacceptability would not have legal basis. But if you go to a dictator country or a monarch country, even the constitution is not written there. Even if it is written, the women are not, it is not written that women should be equally respected. So if the women are not respected, they cannot move even to the court. But a country like India, at least the women can move to the court because it is written in the constitution. The same is true with the caste inequality. This is the second example, children. After the women example, you have to give about the caste inequalities. Democracy in India has strengthened the claims of disadvantaged and discriminated caste for equal status and equal opportunity. This is what I told you before the independence of our country. We all know that there is a caste system in the Hinduism where the upper caste did not allow and give any respect to the lower caste people. But when our constitution was made, a special dignity was given to the lower caste people, and they were no more called as the lower caste. They are called as Harijans by the Mahatma Gandhi, and they were given equal respect and dignity. They were also given some kind of privileges by giving them some kind of reservations, free education, etc. for them, so that they can be at par with the other people. So that doesn't, if we are giving some benefits to the some of the group of people, that doesn't mean that the democracy is favoring them. They have been given some special privileges because for many years they have been deprived of this equal respect. That is why they have been given some equal privileges, children. So most individuals today believe that their vote makes a difference to the way the government is run and to their own self-interest. Today, if we see that in India, it is the lower caste people who are mainly very active during the elections. They give vote. Why? It is because it makes a difference for them. They know that if they, if somebody wrong person is voted, then they will not get any privileges. So their vote makes a difference. They know that their vote makes a difference even for the government also. It's not only the people, even the government feels that it makes a difference. Their vote makes a difference, and in that way, that is why even the government gives them certain privileges and tries to give a lot of respect for these people. So that's about the dignity and freedom of the individual. And this is the one of the very famous cartoon, children, which I'm telling you. Please remember this. Rosa Parks still inspires. See the cartoon first, then I'll tell you about what is this cartoon about. Hey lady, that's my seat. You can see this man, our leaders today, is saying to a woman that that's my seat. And there is what is written on the seat: moral courage. Children, this cartoon represents to the dignity and freedom of the citizens in US, in United States of America, which got independence from the British rule a very long years, many years before. Just after the French Revolution, the US also got its independence. So even after so many years of independence in America, there was no respect for the blacks at all. There was so much of racial discrimination. So the cartoon shows racial discrimination. I'm repeating, the cartoon shows racial discrimination. Now, there was so much of racial discrimination in the United States of America. The whites were discriminating against the blacks. Blacks were not given any right. Even the right to vote was not given to blacks for many, many years. Now they have, but for many years they were not given. So at that time, a movement was started in America called as Civil Rights Movement. Civil Rights Movement. Children, you can all go through Google and read about this more. And there was a person called as Martin Luther. I don't know how many of you have heard this name. Martin Luther. He initiated this civil rights movement, and this lady, Rosa Parks, this is the name of a lady, real name, Rosa Parks. She was also a person who contributed a lot to this movement, civil rights movement. She was a part of this movement. So the cartoon depicts discrimination, that is racial discrimination during that civil rights movement. Whites discriminated against the blacks. So that's the context which I wanted to tell you about this cartoon, children. Do remember, it can become a 1-mark question. Don't give that discrimination against the woman. This is not discrimination against the woman. This is the racial discrimination. Then, belief in the efficacy of vote is placed above the calculus of utility. You can see in different countries how much people believe in the voting system. An approximate is given in India, South Asia, Bangladesh, India. 67% of the people will believe that their votes make difference, but rest of the people doesn't believe in voting system at all. That means they don't believe in the democracy, children. So even if democracy is giving us so much, still there are many people who don't believe in this democracy. So that's all, children. I think that completes this chapter, children, and we will go for one revision of the chapter when we go online and then discuss the question answer. So go through the whole chapter. We'll once more discuss the cartoons in the online classes, children. So that's all, children. Have a good day.